Now, speaking of Americans needing cash, we move now to the latest stimulus news from Capitol Hill, where negotiations are once again heating up. 3 bills are on the table to provide Americans financial relief before time runs out. A $908 billion bipartisan bill, a $500 billion bill from Senate Republicans, and then a Democratic proposal with no specific price tag. The government must pass a bill by December 31st to keep crucial pandemic relief programs in place. With me now is a Bloomberg Wall Street reporter, Sonali Basak. Sonali, what are the roadblocks that are causing this stalemate? And also just give us some context here about what exactly is at stake.
So there's some things they do agree on. And one of those things is that small businesses need help, and there needs to be a greater sense of unemployment assistance. There's a lot they don't agree on, as we know, as we don't have a stimulus yet. And that includes how much jobless benefits need to be passed along for the next couple of months, and also state and local aid. It's a complicated question because we still have more than 10 million Americans unemployed at the moment. And so that jobless benefit number needs to last a while because we don't know what the economy is going to look like the next couple of months.
So is this something that Democrats and Republicans can find common ground on and then get it to the president before the end of the year?
Well, one of those bills is a bipartisan bill being floated around, and the jobless benefits being discussed in that is about $300 a week in enhanced federal unemployment benefits. That's less. That's about half of what we are seeing in the last pandemic package.
Better than nothing.
It's better than nothing. And the question is, and again, how long it lasts for. The Republicans had floated about a 1-month extension. But again, Biden's inauguration doesn't come until the end of January. So it has to last a while. And when you look at some of the top officials in America, you have Jerome Powell of the Federal Reserve saying overshooting it is better than undershooting it here. Because if you go in with not enough money, you risk causing a lot more permanent damage to the economy that then can't be reversed as easily.
What are the markets telling us about the probability of some sort of stimulus being extended or passed before the end of the year?
Well, you saw it in the market immediately yesterday when there was hopes being floated for a new stimulus, and the market soared to a record high. But when you went throughout the night and you went throughout the morning and you realized that the same sticking points that have existed all year, which is that state and local aid, and then also another big one is liability protection for big, and really Congress needs to get this done by December 11th. What the markets are really telling you is they know that more money needs to be made available immediately. Otherwise, this economy is going to suffer. Because today you did see the market really reacting right away to the idea that there wasn't an immediate stimulus.
And one thing that we saw notable this week and at the end of last week was the way that consumers were spending and were expected to spend. And we are certainly still waiting for some of that data to come in. But I wonder about consumer confidence because it did tick up in the past week by around 1% after dropping for 3 consecutive weeks. That's according to Morning Consult. So how did we fare this November as holiday spending got underway, and what's that telling us about how consumers are feeling?
Well, one important thing about that Morning Consult poll is it's telling you that in almost every state in America, confidence is declining. And there's a huge divergence between high-income earners and everybody else. High-income earners are more excited about the economy. They're fine.
This is the K-shaped recovery that Biden was referring to yesterday, right?
Yes, that we keep on talking about.
The K-shaped recovery, I should say.
But, you know, there's others. And yesterday we talked to Raj Cohen, who's the chairman of the big law firm Sullivan & Cromwell, one of the best-known Wall Street lawyers in the world. And he said that the labor markets are not strong. And who knows how COVID-19 can wreak havoc on the economy in the next couple of months. So you even have major representatives of Wall Street warning that things can get much, much worse here.
Look, I think that's so important to keep in mind, even though we have news of the vaccine, as we were just talking about with Sam Fazeli, and even Governor Cuomo says that in the coming weeks, more than 100,000 New Yorkers will have access to it. There are still a lot of people who will need to get the vaccine, and we likely will not reach herd immunity until halfway into next year. And a lot can happen when it comes to the economy between now and then, no?
Right. And you and I have talked about this before, that there are so many small businesses. In some cases, some surveys say a third of small businesses don't even less than 4 weeks away, and we might wait another week for a stimulus bill. So that's how fast things are moving.
Okay, so what are economists telling you when you talk to them, when you read the notes about the coming quarters and even the coming weeks?
So even though we're seeing, and we expect job numbers this Friday, even though we're seeing jobs being added, it's at a much slower rate than before. And so you have long-term unemployment, and those people that are more permanently displaced from the workforce, how do you get them employed? And then moving into next year, you have all these companies that borrowed all this money to get through the pandemic. They're going to be focusing on paying that interest payment back, and then will they have to lay more workers off as these financial pressures start to weigh on them? That's another worry.
Yeah, the debt story is certainly huge. Bloomberg News' Shonali Bostic. Thanks as always for your time, Shonali.